Hey Bill, I think it's been really interesting how your team has continually battled back from some big deficits, most notably this last game and at Drake. Was there maybe a defining moment in practice or something like that where you felt like this team was capable of handling some adversity?
No, that's a great question. I don't know that there was like a defining or singular moment. I think I would say, Tommy, that and I think I've said this before, I our kids show up and practice hard. And I think, we really talk a lot about finishing stuff and, whether it's good or whether it's bad and whether it's school or whatever. So I don't know that there's something that we saw. I think it was more their individual mindset coming in and then just building on it and reinforcing. That's just, you know, the game's 40 minutes, you play 40 minutes. And I don't know why, these four conference games, we've either been behind or tied and maybe behind a lot and found a way to have some level of success. So that's a good thing. But on the other hand, we probably need to figure out a better way to start the game. So it kind of goes both ways.
What's your message to the team heading into Saturday's game in terms of opportunity? Because I know you've been pretty adamant that, you know, opportunities like this against ranked teams like this don't always come around all the time.
No, we talked a lot about it, and it's kind of the way we've run into teams. It seems like every team that we played in the conference is coming off a loss or some disappointment. So you get a team that's a little bit desperate. So that, and maybe that's why the games have started the way they have, partially. Um, I think it's been Sarah told me since 2010, besides the Big 12 tournament last year, we're during the regular season. We beat two top 25 teams in the same week. So it tells you how hard it is. And Baylor's the most talented team we've played. And I don't think it's close. So this is, we went into the week knowing this was going to be, without question, the hardest week up to now with the style of play that we were going to face. And Baylor's so skilled and so talented and so old that we'll have our hands full. Obviously, we're disappointed that the crowd will be um, impacted by the weather, but we just got to go out and look, play the game the way we can, and um, hopefully play the kind of game that we need to play to compete against a top five team.
How soon did you find out they had lost on Wednesday night? And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. I found out literally walking in to talk to you guys after the game. Someone mentioned it to me. My guess is it's probably not a good thing. They came straight from Lawrence to here, so I'm sure they've been in a really good mood in Ames in the weather. for uh, so I'm my guess is they're going to come out pretty fired up. So we better get ready to start the game. They've been a great first quarter team. You look at their stats. Statistically, they've dominated the first quarter all season. So I think for us, starting the game is going to be a huge part of any chance to have success.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Tommy.
Bill, it's Mark down at WHO. I know you hit the kind of the sweet spot on Wednesday as far as the weather's concerned. Ed seems to think the roads could still be really bad tomorrow. So I guess I know you referenced the crowd and how it could be a little bit smaller. How do you kind of go about that, knowing that it could be less than what it normally would be, and how would you kind of what would your message be to fans about travel versus not travel, importance of the crowd versus being safe, all that good stuff?
Well, I think first of all, there's no question that people need to be safe. It's a game, and there's more games to come. So that's a no brainer for me. What we're hoping for obviously is that the snow ends and the roads get a little better. I don't think the cold, Mark, scares people. I mean, we do play inside It's not a football game outside, but obviously traveling is an issue, and that's the number one thing. And we've approached it, and what I told them today, right after practice, we found a way to get everyone here to practice today is we're going to treat it almost like a road game. That's the kind of crowd that it'll probably be, if not less. And, you can use that as an excuse or whatever. I mean, it's a game, and you put the uniform on and you play the game the right way. And, there's, the people who aren't at the game are going to be home on their couch having a cold one, watching the game. So, people are going to pay attention. They might not be physically in the building, but they're rooting for you and paying attention. So, we just got to go do our job. And, it's disappointing because it is a big game. It's a great opportunity. We only played Baylor once for our fans to see a great team, not just watch our team, but, see a great opponent in the building. So, but yeah, it's all about safety. And, I think that's what our administration stressed. We had a lot of calls this morning. So hopefully the roads will get better, but if not, hunker down and yell at the TV.
Are you responsible for the shoveling at the Fennelly household, or how does that go?
No, Mark, that's one thing that I make very few decisions. My wife Deb is the CFO of our family, but I put my foot down and we hire someone to come clean our driveway.
Smart.
That's, I unless you, I would say this, Mark, if she tells me to go out and shovel, I bet she must have checked on my insurance policy because there's a chance that could end poorly. But no, we're fortunate that we let someone come do it for us.
Good for you. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate your time.
Hey, Bill, Rob Gray here.
Hey, Rob.
How you doing? One thing that strikes me about your freshmen, as particularly Audie and Addie, is there's a joy in playing the game, but there's also a level of confidence that for a freshman seems to be uncannily high. How would you describe how they manage? Because they make key plays every time when you're in a funk, and they obviously bring a lot on both ends of the floor. But how would you describe those two in particular in terms of their balance of confidence and just loving every minute that they're out on the floor?
Yeah, it's a unique thing. I mean, you think first of all, the pressure of playing at this level, but I mean, they're competitive. They know they're good, in a good way. I think they feel they play better when they are excited and they do show their emotion. And it's not something we've seen here. Our fans are used to seeing, Ashley Jones be a great player, but you didn't see Ash react that way. But Audie and Addie, I think, really believe that's part of their success. They love to make plays. I think they enjoy the reaction when they do make big plays. And I think you saw that the other night. It's just, that combination of, I know I can play at this level. And the thing or two, Rob, is that I've been really impressed with is obviously they've made a lot of great plays, but they don't get too stressed out about the bad ones. And a lot of freshmen, they just get overwhelmed by that.
Yep.
They really have a next play mentality, which is something they came here with. We have not taught them that. They came here with that. And I think that's been a huge part of the way they've managed to be successful.
Gotcha. And a quick extra one for me. We've touched on Baylor quite a bit, but is one of the things about them year in, year out, they might not lead the nation in a lot of things, but they're also really good in about every single area you measure. How would you describe just the way that they don't ever seem to have a flaw or something you can attack?
No, I mean, it's one of those, legendary programs that every year they're going to have great players. They play different than when Kim was there, but that's still Baylor basketball. And I think someone said the other day, there's 5 teams in the country that are averaging 80 points, 40 rebounds, and 20 assists, and they're one of the 5. And it's just, they're always athletic. They're always ultra physical. And they're very, very, they're not as big and strong as Kim's Baylor teams, but they're much more open open offensively and they shoot the three more, but it's, it's always going to be a good team no matter what. And Nikki's done a great job of bringing, the WNBA input and style of play to Baylor. And, every time that you see them and every time you get them on the schedule, they're going to be good.
Gotcha. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Rob.
Hey, Bill, it's Connor.
Hey, Connor.
Hey, you might have piggybacked, or I'm piggybacking a little bit off one of Tommy's questions, but is getting your team to avoid, whether it be a scoreless drought or a couple of turnovers, back to back. And I know you like watching them play it out and opting not to call a timeout. I'm not saying you should or anything like that, but is that avoiding that, like, I guess, run of negative plays a big key factor in especially games like this?
Oh, it's a huge factor. And we talk about it a lot. If you're not scoring, you better guard. And if you're not guarding, you better score. And, the game the other night, there were 3 or 4 times where we probably should have called timeout. My staff was screaming about it, like at the end of the first half. Obviously we did call a timeout, maybe late. I know my father, God rest his soul, would be screaming about it. But you're right. I mean, the ups and downs of every game are gonna happen. But I think for us, because we're a team that does not create turnovers, so it's not like we're gonna, you're gonna steal the ball from us a couple times. We're not gonna steal it from you. We got to guard right. We got to, the one thing we did a great job of the other night was we didn't put them on the free throw line. So you just got to figure out ways to stop the bleeding. And our kids, for the most part, have been pretty good at it. But when, the games we've lost, it's been 3 to 5 minutes of that, and we haven't been able to recover. The games we've won, we've been fortunate to find a way to recover. So, we got to eliminate those big swings and got to do a better job of figuring out a way to put our kids in better spots.
Thanks, Bill. That's for me.
Hey Bill, Brett with the Iowa State Daily. I was just wondering, starting the season off 4-0, do you think, or did you foresee this type of start to the Big 12 season before it began?
No, no, Brett, I didn't. I mean, I knew, that I think I knew we were ready to at least get into the league and compete and see what was going to happen. But, a lot of unknowns when you start the league, because I think what happens anytime you start the conference, you hope your kids are ready. I thought our kids came back from the Christmas break great. They were excited. They were re-energized. So that was a good sign. But you don't know when you start the conference, a lot about some of the teams in our league played monster schedules. Some of them didn't. So it was a really hard barometer. But I knew we were ready to start playing. I didn't know how well we played, and but so far I think we've done the things that we need to do, and that's a credit to the kids and what my staff has done. But I knew we were ready. I didn't know how we would be, but I knew we were ready to get going.
That's awesome. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Brett.